Alright lads and lasses, I'm Xcentric Racer and I'm here on Forza Horizon 5, this time not with the Forza Community. No, I actually got invited to partake in Failrace Versus The Community. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description so you go check him out. And also as well, have you ever wondered what a broken mic would sound like during a recording? Because that is exactly what has happened during this recording. I'll give you a little sample for you. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd be highly appreciative that you're not going to sit through half an hour of me sounding like a fucking demented chipmunk. So I am deciding to do a post-commentary on all of these races. I've cut them down to show a little bit more of the highlights, sort of more of the battles that was on my end when partaking in this Versus Community event. I'm also going to add some nice chilled out music in the background, just so you've got something more to listen to than just me talking over complete and utter silence with just a moving Chevrolet Colorado with these races. Yeah, so this car was absolutely amazing. I really did enjoy the Colorado. It had about 525 brake horsepower. The car weighed, I think, 1600 kilos, somewhere around there, a little bit heavier than that, in between 1600 and 1700. I think it's about 1628 kilos. And it was absolutely phenomenal. The handling was a little bit of an issue, as you probably know from the previous Forza Community when I used this Colorado for the first time. Yeah, the handling was not great because it is on its standard tyres. Because really, for the cross-country, I wanted power. Because these tyres are already off-road orientated, I thought, well, no point using off-road race. May as well take out some power, add some power, take out a lot of weight. So, first race. I don't know how to pronounce it. Basically, we're near the pyramids type of area, and you can already see just the acceleration from my Colorado was absolutely amazing. I started right the way near the back, and just before turn 1, I was in already 6th place. I think I would start, what, 11th or something like that, and I already made halfway up the field. I was already behind Alex, trying to go around the outside, ploughing through some of the street furniture. Knaxi actually ploughed through those black things. I'm not too sure what they were, but absolutely slowed down that pickup. That pickup, you will see a fair amount because that had even more acceleration than me. You can see the straight line speed of my Colorado was just absolutely amazing. Alex's Toyota had more power than me, but it was heavier, which, you know, obviously meant it had lower acceleration, whereas my Colorado was just absolutely fine. He would throw us up the inside. Knaxi being the big loser of all that, losing 2 places. I'm trying to find a way past Alex. We're starting to actually catch up to Dragons as well. You will see their Barracuda a lot this video as well. I had a fair few battles with them. Sorry, and yeah, I tried to make around the outside work, however, I just did not have the grip. Alex would get on the inside and then get absolutely mugged by a Volkswagen and me, and then try and go around the inside of that Raptor. I hit the black thing, and I just did not react quick enough to realise that that Volkswagen was on the inside of my car, pushed it into the shed, and I do really apologise for that. You know, I said that in the party, and they were saying it's okay. They were trying to go for a line where they sort of avoided those black silos. However, they weren't doing however, they said they weren't doing the line correctly, and unfortunately, it was just a combination of lines which just led to them being in the shed, assisted by me. So because of that, I did drop to 5th place, had to find my way back past this BMW X5, which I managed to do just down the straight. It was just like it was standing still, that BMW. I mean, to be honest, the BMW wasn't terrible down the straight, but my Colorado was just that good. It just had constant acceleration no matter what. It wasn't the quickest accelerating at the lower speed. Knaxi's Volkswagen pickup was a lot better accelerating at the lower end stuff, but that did not have the higher end acceleration compared to me. I'm having then to outdrag the Hennessy Raptor before we headed into the more technical section. I'm on the inside, I'm sort of blocking the apex, not giving an opportunity for that Raptor to be able to go up the inside of me. You can see I'm having to kick the back end out so much to get this Colorado through the corners. The Chroma almost actually gets that position well. I think they nearly missed the checkpoint trying to go up the inside of me, but I did manage to keep that position, and then I just started running away from them. That amount of power that I had was really nice. You can already see the gap that I was pulling away from them, and it basically just remained like that for a little while. Knaxi was actually then starting to catch up to me at the end of this. They actually did recover extremely well. I was going mad defensive, not giving them an easy opportunity to get past me. We were then having a huge drag race towards the finish line. You can see the Volkswagen starting to get close to me, but it was not enough. I would take third place, Dragons would win, with Alex second place in the Tacoma. Knaxi would have to settle for fourth. Chroma, I actually did manage to get fifth. No, so I got 6th place in the Velociraptor. The BMW X5 managed to hold on to 5th place. Our next race, we headed to the Urban Cross Country Circuit, which was it's in the main city, Guanajuato, if I remember correctly. Now, this one is kind of an interesting track. It's very simple. It's a very short race. You know, there's only, as you can see there, like 5 corners, but it is very bumpy. This is a true suspension test for your car. I had a very good grid. There was a high amount of tension, to be honest, because Dragons was in 2nd place. Knaxi started 3rd as well, so already the cars that were very close to me, very close speed-wise, with Dragons being slightly quicker at race 1, Knaxi as well, and Alex's Tacoma were all faster than me at race 1, all starting sort of towards the front of the field. So, you know, it was already a very intense line. It was just an intense starting grid because I did not have a huge advantage. I got an awful landing there. That just allowed Dragons to really just make a huge amount of time from just my really dodgy landing. My Colorado was very front heavy. It dove a lot, which was really exaggerated at this track with a lot of the huge jumps. As you can see here, this final jump, I mean, Dragons as well did not have a good landing. Mine was just as bad. Alex's was actually pretty good. The Velociraptor, Chroma's Velociraptor, was very good at this track. It could land the jumps extremely well. As you can see, Dragonsoft pulled a little bit of a gap ahead of me, but this is what happens when you have a dodgy sort of little bit of landing. Dragons was all over the place trying to find some grip. My Colorado was a little bit more stable through that, actually quite a fair bit more stable, and I managed to get that position and take the lead with really no hassle. And that's just the advantage that you get. If you do not get a dodgy landing and a pretty clean section, you can gain so much time from just having a much better landing, which, well, was proved there. I just sailed past Dragons like it was nothing because of their just awful landing, and they're having to fight for control in order to manage to get the car going back into a straight line, and that managed to allow me to pull away for quite a good margin of this race. And I was just constantly driving in the rear view mirror, having to see where that Barracuda would try and make its positions through the corners. That car was a little bit quicker, and I think I had a little bit better acceleration at the little lower end than I did. It shows the better line through there. It was not as heavy on the landing compared to me, but my acceleration proved too good down that little straight there, because my Colorado's acceleration was just constantly good, no matter what speed it was. So I was defending like mad. As you can see, we had a little bit of a gap to Alex and Chroma back there. Knaxi's Volkswagen was actually still front wheel drive, so it did struggle a little bit at some of the corners. Dragons was going up the inside a little bit. As we kept battling hard and not having the greatest of landings, that Tacoma was actually starting to catch up with that Velociraptor not too far behind. Us four at the front were very close in terms of pace. I get this corner wrong. I just handbraked and swung it into the corner a little bit too late. Dragons was on the inside, but my acceleration out the corner was still very good. I then had a little bit of a dodgy landing, sort of I just tried to go to the inside, but I sort of just cut the nose off of Dragons a little bit there. I don't think there was any contact, but it just felt like I just sort of swiped them off an opportunity. Dragons again had a very good run, but would just run into the back of me. It was no problems. Now this landing here caused a huge amount of problems for me, because it was an awful landing. I had to fight for control. As I was still fighting for control, unfortunately I just went into Dragons' way, and they went up the inside. It was a little bit of a shove out the way to pass, but with Alex going 3 wide around the outside, but my acceleration was too good for that Tacoma. Dragons getting a little bit of a bouncy landing there, there on the first huge jump. I was then having to go up the inside. I got a much better line this time. Having that four-wheel drive stability was on the inside of that Barracuda. My acceleration was very, very good. I then sort of had a little bit of an interesting line, and I sort of landed in front of Dragons there a little bit. I got a little bit of a helping hand through there, and my acceleration, that was just the advantage of my Colorado. Its acceleration was just so good. Yes, it might have struggled through the corners, but I can get in people's way, be an absolute nuisance, and just out-accelerate them on the run to the next corner. It was a little bit of a dodgy landing, but so it was for many people, and I would claim the first victory. Alex almost got second place off of that Barracuda from Dragons. However, you know, it just was not quite enough. The Barracuda was good enough accelerating. The Velociraptor as well, as you can see, the best laps was all within 3/10 with me taking the slowest lap, but I just had a really good car there. Ignore that little bit of a jump cut, I just had an issue in the video that I managed to fix. Anyway, race 3, Costera Cross Country. I had a good position, starting in 5th. It was ahead of Alex, Chrome, Dragons and Canaxi. They all started a little bit further back, and I'm just going to show you the acceleration that my Colorado had. It was just absolutely mighty. Now, of course, the other Volkswagen pickup up ahead was four-wheel drive, so, you know, it wasn't just a plain sailing move of I could just get up the inside and that would be the... I could just out-accelerate at the end of that, because that pickup truck, so it did have a great amount of acceleration, which made it more of a challenge for me. Unfortunately, I just went a little bit too wide into that checkpoint, which lost me a heap of positions, almost 3 positions there, including 2 Dragons and Chroma, so I knew my work was then cut out for me. I knew that I had to then push really hard to try and get the positions. I was sort of looking every which way to try and get past that Hennessy Raptor, that Velociraptor, sorry. Had a look up the inside. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to do it, but I was still on the inside, and then all of a sudden you see X5 just lands into the bed of that Velociraptor. Alex was here too, had sort of a little bit of a look up the inside, and then I just noticed something just miss a checkpoint. I'm not too sure what that actually was. I think something did miss the checkpoint there, and I did manage to finally get past Chroma, which promoted me into 3rd place. And then you're going to see the acceleration advantage that some of us had. I was catching up to Dragons a little bit, but quite a bad landing there cost me a fair bit of time, especially compared to that little VW pickup. But Dragons was able to pull away a little bit with a better landing. I think as well with their car being that little bit slower on acceleration actually did mean they didn't lose as much speed, because of that landing zone is a little bit of an uphill, so you do lose a hell of a lot more speed than before. Then what's it? Jugglers just had a very bad landing in that VW, just allowed Dragons to sail around the outside with just no issues whatsoever, and I knew I had to try and get past this VW as quick as possible. I did not want to be bogged down in a battle if I was going to stand any chance of catching up to that Barracuda. As you can see, I'm looking around the outside using my superior straight line just speed in general, having a look around the outside of that VW, get actually a really nice sort of landing on the jump, which allowed me to take the inside line, sort of taking a sort of cutting off the apex, did not want it allowed to get a cutback. Now I punched through the pebbles a lot better than that VW, as you'd expect, which did allow me to run away from that from Juggler's pickup truck, that VW. And yeah, it pretty much just stayed like that for a little while. Lap 3, I was just constantly having to try and see if there was any place that I could get past Dragons. Unfortunately, I couldn't. However, on lap 4, Dragons had a really bad landing onto the beach there. It was really bouncy, and they had to fight control a little bit, which did give me back some time. I was sort of gaining throughout lap 3, but not by a noticeable amount. But on lap 4, I decided to start following their lines a little bit, see if I could gain a little bit of advantage. You can see the Barracuda is just all over the place, trying to just fight for control when it's getting these dodgy landings. And then back onto the beach for this hairpin. Dragons runs very wide. I'm then using the handbrake, seeing if I can get any position. I'm then up the inside, get a very good corner actually. They're stuck stuck on the outside. I'm able to get a good amount of acceleration. My higher acceleration was just vastly superior. I'm on the inside, managed to get that checkpoint only just. I do get the position against Dragons, and well, I get a little bit of dodgy landing. That is going to allow them to catch up a little bit, but they had to go on the very inside. I'm going to force them to go through more of the trees. They did an avoidant action, but it was not enough. I would take race number 3, the second victory. Me and Dragons was absolutely ran away from the field. Dragons' best lap was 1 second quicker than everyone else, and then my fastest lap was 1 second on top of that. It was an absolutely fantastic race. I really had to concentrate hard and push this Colorado to just the absolute limit. It was absolutely incredible. It was a sublime race. Race number 4, we headed to Horizon Baja with me, an incredible spot on the grid, 2nd place. Dragons in 9th, and Kanaxi was in 6th place, but we know that car was front wheel drive, so it's going to struggle a little bit. Chroma was in 5th. That Tacoma started ahead of us. It didn't really matter. I overtook it immediately into turn 1. My straight line acceleration was just vastly superior. And well, yes, at Baja you do need a little bit of handling, I will admit. There's a lot of slow speed hairpins, and as you can see, Alex's Tacoma was a lot better than me through the corners. However, my Colorado was good enough. I used the banking to my advantage that you know, even though I was losing a little bit of speed through the corners, it was not enough to give that Tacoma a opportunity in order to actually get the position against me. And then on the run to this next banked corner, I just had enough of a gap, and that gap would just keep increasing and increasing and increasing, just from pure acceleration all alone. That was just the main thing. However, through this corner, this is when I lost a lot of time. I had to handbrake it like mad. I had just a lack of control, so you can see that Tacoma was gaining a lot of time. It was then starting to reappear on my screen when I'm using the chase cam. It just didn't matter in the end, because the run to the finish line was all about that acceleration. And well, you know, you can see the gap I just pull on that Tacoma from just the run to the finish line up to turn 1. I then just had an increasing gap, and you know, that was just the story of it. Alex would gain on me a fair bit through 2 corners. However, everywhere else I was just good enough that he couldn't gain any more time, and I just started to pull further and further away. And, you know, that just remained like that for a little while. However, Knaxi with that VW was gaining quite a lot, and I wanted for them to battle for a little while just so I could get a little bit of advantage. The skies did clear up, but it was still a little bit wet on the course. Knaxi eventually did get past Alex onto, I think it was lap 3, and then onto the final lap. You could see how close that VW was. That lower end acceleration really did drag that car up to me. However, my four-wheel drive stability really did work. Unfortunately, Kanaxi tried to do a move, tried to do the uncut of me. If they did manage to pull that off successfully, I think he would have had me. I honestly do think that Kanaxi would have taken the win off of me. However, they just hit the tyre buns, which lost them a lot of speed. I'm then going extremely defensive. I did not want to leave an opportunity for that car whatsoever. However, the four-wheel drive acceleration off the corner really just helped me through there. You know, they just struggled to put the power down a little bit, which then gave me my third win of this adventure. It was absolutely incredible. I was loving the Colorado. It was just so goddamn good. However, I did not get fastest lap. That pickup truck was quicker by almost a second, 8/10. That Barracuda did steal third place off Alex right at the very end. Now, for the final race, I did not have confidence. I was starting right at the back with the Barracuda and the pickup truck and that Velociraptor and Tacoma all starting in first to fourth, and I was at the very back. I really was not holding any hopes for this race whatsoever, because I just knew, well, what could I actually do in the slightest? Yeah, as I was saying, Ekbalam is... This truck really did not suit my Colorado whatsoever. It was not good enough at the handling. You know, Ekbalam is actually quite a technical circuit. Well, yes, my straight line acceleration was extremely handy. As you could see me just picking off the places one by one with not too much hassle. I mean, the Land Rover was having a good go trying to find a way past me. But through the corners it was able to catch up to me, which made it a little bit much more of a challenge to try and get past it. I'm then on the inside of Chroma, having to try and find a way past. I'm then taking the very outside line. That's that Land Rover again with its superior handling being really close to me. I'm punching through a lot of the furniture, slowing me down quite a bit, but I still had enough acceleration. I think Chroma didn't miss that checkpoint. Yeah, I don't think they actually did. I'm not too sure. I'll be able to find out in a second, but they did lose 2 positions because it was on an extremely tight line, and that Land Rover almost was just fighting all over the place trying to find a way past me, but it was not able to do it. And that was the issue that a lot of people, a fair few people, were having against my Colorado. They had more handling than me and they could get up the inside, but my acceleration was just too mighty, too quickly for them to actually be able to hold on to that position. And you know, I was then having to chase down Juggler's pickup truck that was 4-wheel drive, so I had a little bit better handling, a little bit better acceleration, then go for a huge move up the inside. It just, unfortunately, it didn't quite pay off. They weren't going for that. They weren't intending it to be that much of a ramp, so they do give Knaxi's front-wheel drive pickup that had the V6 in it, gave that position back, and it slowed down to let them back past. And obviously it did terrify me a little bit. I was not expecting the pickup truck to be that slow, sort of close to me, so I had to do a little bit of a evasive maneuver to not just crash into the back of it. I did manage to do it, which then promoted me into 4th place, and I really had to just defend from that pickup truck in however I could. You know, that had much superior handling. You see, going around the outside, I do sort of hit into it a little bit over the landing. However, you know, I didn't cause too many hassles. The line sort of got blocked off a little bit. They were still trying to find a way past me, going up the inside wherever they could, but it just did not matter. My acceleration was just way too good, and through the water they lost a lot of time. Which was the huge advantage for my Colorado. I lost no speed whatsoever through the water, and I was just pulling further and further away from that pickup truck as time went on with my better acceleration and my better line through the water. But as you can see through this corner here, it is gaining big time. I'm then just making sure I don't crash into the temple walls. But, you know, that car just fell a little bit too far back, was not really able to get any position against me, and would actually have to settle for 5th place. I think I got 5th place in the end. I would have to get 4th place. Dragons ran away at this one a little bit. Alex and Knaxi were fighting massively hard, but you can see through that little section, the pickup truck caught on me massively. It had a very dodgy landing there, which just cost it so much time. I knew at this point I was basically home free and was having to defend from that Land Rover. The old Defender, I think it was Defender, sort of did actually come alive a little bit at this track. It did set a really impressive time. But I knew at this point that I was safe in a 4th place. I tried to sort of catch up to the 2 up ahead, however the track was just too technical for my Colorado. It just did not matter, and yeah, I would have to settle for 4th place. So there we are. To conclude, my Colorado, absolutely loved it. It was bloody brilliant. Yeah, sure, it lacked a little bit in the handling, but that really didn't matter in the slightest. I got 3 wins with it in the end. It was an absolutely brilliant adventure, and yeah, I was so happy with it. It was an incredible adventure, this. So yeah, you can see the fastest laps. I was up there a little bit, but that Defender was actually pretty close as well. So yeah, to conclude, Colorado, very good car, would recommend it. However, that is going to be it for me. I do hope you enjoyed. I'd be highly appreciate. All feedback is appreciated. Again, thank you to Failrace for inviting me to partake in this event. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. If you do want to take part in it, there'll be 2 links. The first link will be an invite link to the Discord where this event takes place. Just join that, and then there'll be some rules on how to join the Versus community. If you want to join my Discord, feel free. There'll be another link in the description. However, that's going to be it from me. Take care, and ciao for now.